Assalamu alaikum, welcome to a new episode of Fumata Fukumi Talk Show. So, as always, I'm going to start with some quick self-PR talk about my coffee blog, where I'm talking about otaku culture, Japanese pop culture, anime, manga, and I'm most notably covering live streams of Heaven Burns Red, one of my favorite games recently, and I'm writing about my thoughts on some recent anime, etc. I've been blogging Gundam Shigax. I didn't finish blogging the series yet because sadly I really didn't like the series at all. So while I did finish watching it, I'm not done blogging it yet. So yeah, I'm gonna put as always the link in the description below. So please check it out. So the next thing I have to talk about is UmaMusu, the gacha horse racing game by Cygames that finally got released in English. And first off, I don't like saying it's a horse racing game because technically it's actually a racing game. So it's a game where you need to take care of the career of the character you're taking care of, take care of the stats, and pick up the right training regimen, etc. So it's a racing game, and it's very similar to like Princess Maker and to like Power Poke. And like in fact, Konami is suing Cygames currently. There's still no issue. I think it's been ongoing for over 2 years now. The Saiban, how do you say this in English again? The trial. Konami is suing Cygames because they're saying that they plagiarize Power Pro Pocket, which is like the spin-off of Powerful Yaku, which is a Konami baseball game. And it's like the Rayman characters, like they have no hands and they're small SD characters, chibi characters who do baseball. And they did the Power Poke series, which is baseball, but instead of actually playing, you need to raise the characters, take care of the carry, etc. So UmaMusu is just like this. So yeah, the game is finally out in English. They did a lot of good stuff, Cygames. Like they decided to release the game directly on Steam in English. It's a very good, very good choice. And the game, it seems, it's getting quite popular. And I've seen a lot of people talking about it. And I've seen like there's popular streamers, English streamers playing it, etc. There's most probably one of the most popular English VTubers called Northern Lion. I don't know if you know this VTuber. He's been streaming the game as well. So yeah, and so this is pretty special because UmaMusu actually the project, it's a media mix or transmedia or media mix. It depends. In Japanese, they use media mix or transmedia. It means it's not just a game. It's just also an animes, the manga, there's tons of merch, etc. And the project was initially announced like in 2018, but the game took a very long while to get released because it was in development hell. Cygames had a lot of issues, a lot of problems, etc. It's very similar to Grand Blue Reading, which was announced like 7 or 8 years before it actually released. So yeah, it's very similar to that. The game was in development for like at least 6 years or something, and it finally released in 2021, I think, or 2022. And then the English version was announced as well. The English version was announced, and it took like 2 years since the announcement of the English version to get finally released. So like this feels like quite surreal in a way because I've been following the franchise since its announcement in 2018. So this is pretty cool. Like it's finally got released. And so yeah, now that it's getting popular, you obviously have a lot of SEO farms like Varnet, like Dexerto, etc. They're trying to capitalize and they say some random trash about the game, and like they see Google Trends, they check Google Trends and they see words like they see UmaMusu Haru Urara, and they don't even know who the horse is and what it is. But since it's trending, they try to make articles and tweets about it, and they spread misinformation, and they don't know anything about Japanese culture or otaku culture or anime or horse racing or Japanese horse racing, and they just try to make up something based on Google Trends. And sadly, when something gets popular, you also have like this type of SEO farms, and like you also have a lot of weird like YouTubers who like do tons of content videos like who should you pull and like all these stupid videos. Like personally, I don't think you should pull anyone. Like when you're playing a gacha game, you should just save, and like if there's a character you like, you should pull them. You shouldn't care about meta or anything, but you shouldn't care to a certain extent, but you shouldn't decide purely on meta. And so yeah, like I actually play UmaMusu myself, though I say I'm playing it, but I only log into the game like for over one for over 800 days now. I've been logging in the game on DMM because in Japan it was already on PC, but only on DMM games, not on Steam. And now they release a Steam Japanese version as well. So I've been logging in into the game for like over 800 days for like almost 4 years now, but I barely actually play myself. And so yeah, so that's why I often, as a joke, I call myself a fake fan of UmaMusume, but it's not like I actually believe there's like real fans and fake fans. But though I do think like that there's actual people who are like actually malicious or weird, like I said earlier, the SEO farms like Dixerto, like Valnet, and like the weird YouTubers as well that would make banner videos like, should you pull this character, should you pull this, is this character meta, etc. All these stupid videos. Like a lot of people like Mike Vultures trying to make content and money and views out of stuff they don't even know about. So yeah, I think you should be careful of all these people and also all this stuff. And so why I'm talking about this is because there's actually a really good fan site about UmaMusume that you should check out. And this is what I wanted to introduce. And it's called Umadachi Densetsu, which is a very good site about UmaMusume stuff in general, be it the story, be it the horses, be it the timelines, be it the merch, etc. And this site recently they made a very good guide in English for people who just discovered UmaMusume and who don't speak Japanese, to check like what kind of anime, what kind of manga there is, etc. Because just as I just explained, this is a major mix franchise, and I'm focusing on this because a lot of people don't want to play gacha games, which is understandable, of course. And personally, I wish that more people actually talk about gacha games, and because it's inevitable. People are playing it, so you need to actually talk about the dangers, because sadly a lot of games run it, they just go, gacha games are predatory, and they don't say anything else. There's no analysis, there's no research, there's no explanation why is it predatory, why some games are actually much worse than others, etc. And for example, this is something I always say, actually Genshin is actually one of the least predatory gacha games out there when compared to stuff like FGO, especially FGO until like 2 or 3 years ago, back when there was no seeding yet, no PD yet. And the problem, however, with Genshin is that a lot of people, like over half of the English Genshin fan base, they actually never played other gacha games before, so they get gacha'd easily, so they fall into it easily, right? They have no knowledge of gacha games, so they have no knowledge of the pitfalls, etc. And sadly, there's no actual resources in English as well, because you only have stupid YouTubers saying what should you pull, like pushing you to pull, pushing you into the FOMO, etc. There's very few people actually explaining gacha games to people and actually explaining the dangers, etc. Instead of just saying, it's predatory, I'm not playing it. And that kind of sucks in my opinion. So that's why I'm trying to talk about this. Like, obviously I'm just a drop in the sea, but like I'm trying to do some preventions myself. So yeah, if you personally, as a Muslim living in a Western country, I have high FOMO resistance, I may say, because if you actually want to follow your religion for real and avoid like stuff like alcohol, etc., in a country like France, like it's a society which is heavily based around alcohol, just like in Japan in a way. So like you need high resistance to FOMO to not fall into this kind of stuff. So in a way, I also have high resistance to FOMO and like not falling into something just because everyone is talking about it. So yeah, if you are interested in UmaMusume but you don't want to play the game because it's a gacha game, then you can just check out all the anime, all the manga, all the stuff there is, because it's a major mix thing. So you have tons of other games besides the game itself. You also other games as well. For example, you have the party game, Party Dash, which is a really cool party game you can play with family, with friends. There's an online mode as well, and it's on Steam and it's also on Nintendo Switch. So I have this game, so I recommend playing this. For example, like it's really fun if you wanna play UmaMusume without playing the gacha game. You have this game, for example, which is a party game, and it's funny because this is also kind of copied for another Konami game called Kunio. It's one of the Kunio spin-offs, party game spin-off. This is kind of copied from it. So yeah, you have several mini games. You have a basketball game, you have a running game, Like you have basketball, you have like it's kind of like track and field, like kind of like Bishibashi, Special Dudes, this kind of stuff, etc. They have tons of mini games, right? So yeah, you have this, and then you have the anime as well, and there's like the blog explain, like Fair explain on their blog, there's 8 different anime, and each anime they have some of them have their own specific stories, etc. Because it's also one of the things with Gakuen Idol Master, with UmaMusu, with this type of gacha games, they have different timelines, and sometimes they're not necessarily linked to each other. So it's not really spin-offs, it's like different works altogether, but in the same franchise. So yeah, for example, you can watch some of the anime, and you have the anime. This was the very first thing released in 2018, long before the game was released, because the game was stuck in development hell, just like I explained. So yeah, you have the TV series, you have the movies, etc. There's tons of different things you can actually watch and actually experience if you don't want to play the gacha game. So yeah, that's my point, I guess. And yeah, hopefully. Personally, like I always say, like I just said, you shouldn't spend money on gacha games, and if you really want to do it, you should aim from the beginning at the PD. So this way you don't end up in a situation where you're spending money and you still don't have what you actually want. So you need to aim for the PD for the beginning, but I don't recommend doing this. But if you really want to spend money, I recommend just buying stuff like the season pass, etc. The stuff that when you buy it, you're sure of what you're going to get. I don't recommend spending money for spinning the gachas. That's what I'm really against. And you should also save your money to actually just buy other console games. You can buy a lot of stuff. Like recently I got Harvestella, which is like one of the best games. Really great game, Harvestella. You should try it out. For example, if you want to play some stuff other than gacha games, like just save your money and actually buy console games. Like you have Live Alive, the remaster, which is excellent. Like a really good game as well. Like you have tons of stuff. You have Ryu no Kuni, you have Rune Factory, Grajan's Azuma that got released recently. Like what else do I have on my desktop? You have 13 Sentinel, Jusan Kihei Boei-ken, one of the best games of these last 10 years. Like just play 13 Sentinels. Like if you've got FOMO and you don't want to play, you're scared of gacha games, just get 13 Sentinels on PS4, PS5 or Switch. So yeah, that's just what I wanted to talk about. And sadly, like it kind of sucks in my opinion that like because of gaming discussion in English, obviously it's English, and US has English as its main language, so obviously like it's kind of white. Like it's just like all cultural domains in general, all cultural industries, games media and gaming discussion is very right. So a lot of people, they don't necessarily know about anime, they're not necessarily otaku, they don't necessarily know about gacha games, etc. So a lot of, especially nowadays, because the games media industry has collapsed, and you only have like 10, maybe even less games journalists are actually getting paid and actually making a living out of it. And sadly, none of them are actually specialists of gacha games. None of them are actually playing them. All of them are white, or like they like think like a white person, and like they just see this and they just want to the leftist high ground. So they just go, it's predatory, I'm not playing it. And they don't say anything else, and they don't, no analysis, no research, no explanations. Like imagine someone is trying to quit alcohol and they just get said, hey, alcohol is bad, just stop drinking. And like there's nothing, no help. Like, yeah, it's very sad, because if you really think that gacha is so predatory, then you should treat it as such. And when people want to get out of like substances and stuff, we actually call people who used to be into this to do prevention, to explain how they managed to get out of it, etc. So you should do the same thing with gacha games as well. So actually get people who actually played them, or actually played them, or were actually addicted or spent too much money, etc., and managed to get out of it, to explain to others why is it predatory and why you should avoid doing it, etc. So yeah, that's just my opinion on the matter. That's all for this episode of the Fullmetal Fukumi Talk Show, Otaku Talk Show. Thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and remember to check out my coffee in the description below. Thanks for watching. Bye.